So I came to this conference for a couple of reasons. I came because I thought that it was very exciting that Harvard Business Social Entrepreneurship Club, and enterprise, which I've known about for a while, their initiatives both in Boston and globally. I have never known, despite being in Boston for so long, that they ran a conference that was open to students every year. I would have certainly come before had I known, and I was very excited to find out about it from Marcel. And I came both to mingle with panelists, to have conversations, and listen to perspectives of panelists who work in the fields that I'm interested in, to talk with students about their perspectives. And most exciting to me was the lunchtime elevator pitch competition that went on, which, if you had asked me 2 weeks ago if anything would ever drag me away from a Stephen Lewis talk, I would have said nothing ever would, but it actually did. And I think I'll start with that, because that was, I think, maybe my most seminal experience of the conference. I sat next to Michelle throughout the whole elevator pitch competition, and we had kind of ongoing dialogue about each of the pitches, and shared a very common theme, that we were actually surprisingly disappointed, in a sense, by the elevator pitches, but in a positive way. You know, we were disappointed because we were expecting something groundbreaking. We were expecting some absolutely exceptional pitches that would just blow our minds, and we didn't find that. The ideas that were put forth were interesting, but not exceptionally innovative, which I think was something that the panel had a hard time with. There was a suggestion about a van to work with a specific segment of population in Mumbai to go out and provide healthcare work. There was an idea, which eventually ended up winning, about providing students an opportunity to go overseas to do work in a gap year between high school and college, which was something that Michelle and I discussed most specifically. I mean, we talked about it a lot because we were actually both very disappointed with the concept and the fact that the concept won. We thought that as a model it was very exciting, but that the logistics of it, in that the self-sustainability that was described by the competitor, was such that it would be provided for a segment of our population that really is not that which we would like to target. Their pitch, when asked about sustainability immediately, was that Princeton University pledges to commit funds for 10% of their incoming freshman body to study abroad. We were discussing this and realizing that that really isn't the population that we want to be having these experiences. You know, yes, Princeton, Harvard, Yale provide the leaders of tomorrow, but we would like Columbus State to do it, and we would like, you know, a small university in Southern California, University in Nevada, to have these same experiences, and frankly also for people who aren't going to necessarily have the opportunity to go on to university. So while it was an exciting opportunity for people who are going to this, we took it almost as an idea to push further and to think really about some of the ideas that were put forth. The other, the reason that I say that it was positive is we both sat there talking about our group, the social entrepreneurship group at BU, and how any of our ideas, if flushed out, could be up there having these conversations. That in our mind, for example, the grocery store concept was more innovative than anything that was discussed among those competitors, that the wellness center fit right in, that the idea of a supply sharing group fit right in, that initiatives regarding recycling fit right in, and that was very exciting to us, and really kind of reminded us that our club is well on the way to doing really incredible things if we push forward. To keep it brief, as far as panels, I won't really talk about the panel with Sebastian. I was at the second panel as Sebastian and Bauer, and Kwong. and you! No, you weren't there? But just very briefly, I agree with a lot of what Sebastian said. It was very interesting to hear people from the for-profit sector, specifically from Morgan Stanley and from Procter & Gamble, huge companies, talk about their role in working in the for-profit sector. And admittedly, you know, bringing forth their realization that they are not doing a service in the same sense as a nonprofit, but in fact they really believe that we can't affect the global population without bringing for-profit sector in. The third panelist, which I think Sebastian didn't mention, I actually found to be the most fascinating. He's a guy who I had actually met in the past named Colin Brady, who's a graduate of Harvard Business School. And I met him at a party and just remember talking to him a couple of years ago. And he is the COO of Project Red and works extensively with them, helping set up new organizations. And really listening to him and their marketing strategies and the fact that they were trying to keep things so exciting And that really was the catch. And listening to him talk about negativity and positivity in their marketing image, and his concept, the basis of his concept, which is that negativity has no place in marketing. If you're trying to guilt people into giving money to Project Red so that you can treat people in Africa, people are going to shy away from your concept. But if instead you're saying, hey, this is something fun, you can get a red iPod, and at the same time provide money to get X number of antiretroviral pills in a specific location in Africa through the Global Fund, I thought was incredibly exciting and really hit right on with the positivity. The first lecture that I went to was also with Bobber. We seem to have kind of a similar mindset in the morning. Was on education and taking international education policies and applying them to the United States. And I have to say, given my background in education and given my one of this panelists was the director of the International Baccalaureate program, and given my experience with that, with my dad running it, I was actually exceptionally disappointed with the ideas that were put forth by the panel. I felt like really the only message that they had for positive change with regard to education was IT education, and that they were really diminishing the role of teachers in the system, diminishing the role of society in the system, and every question that was raised to that point was kind of brushed off, and suggestions were made again to the IT education and tutoring services that are out there online. And I think that there's a lot more to the education piece than that. And then finally, just another experience. I went to Terence Blanchard's concert, and he's just an awesome hero of mine, and as a trumpeter has been for a long time. But his music, which I hadn't heard before a couple of weeks ago, I did hear a couple of weeks ago, and this specific music related to Katrina, New Orleans. You know, having been in New Orleans right after Katrina, the music really spoke to me. I mean, it was incredibly poignant, and I spoke to both him and his bassist afterwards. Really, really nice guy named Derek, who just, I don't know if he saw me nodding along to music or having my eyes closed or what, but I walked up to him and he gave me a big hug. Just, you know, I'd never met the guy, and just really, really friendly. So I'll leave it at that. The panels were also awesome. I was very skeptical of Nicholas Negroponte, but I actually was really happy with his speech and thought that it was very positive, and he answered a lot of the qualms that I had with this project. I still have others, but it was really great, as was Jan Eglin in the morning. They were really great speeches, and I'll leave it to these guys to talk about those.